Welcome to the Response Agility Podcast. This podcast is a labor of love for me, and it weaves in the story of my professional career and transition from being a single mom to a recruiter, then to an organizational development person, and carries through just the lifestyle and also all of the people that I've worked with along my journey. Today, I have for you Dr. Margaret Paul. Dr. Margaret Paul, I was referred to by one of the executive coaches who I have worked with and had a very high regard for. And I reached out to Dr. Paul when I was really challenged with my dating. I've been single for 20 years. There's no shortage of guys to date. But the real challenge was, why was I continuing to date and go into a relationship with a man I had no intention of ever spending my life with? Like, I was dating for dating, and that was incongruent with what I said I wanted. So she was the person I reached out to, and I was surprised to find out that I had to do inner bonding with myself to actually get back to the place where what I really wanted mattered to me. And so without any further ado, this is Dr. Margaret Paul. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you, Margie.
And can you just share with the audience a little bit about how you help people, or how you serve on the planet, and why you do that?
Well, why I do it is because I've always wanted to do it. I decided at 5 years old that this is what I wanted to do, and it's never changed for me. I love to help people. And I worked as a traditional psychotherapist for 17 years, and I wasn't happy with the results of my own. I had tons of therapy for myself, and with others, I wasn't happy. So I actually just prayed for a process or something that would really work, and work well, work deep, work fast. That's when I met Dr. Erica Chopich. She had half of inner bonding. I had half of inner bonding. We came up with that name, which we still love. We put it together with help from our higher guidance, and it's become this really powerful 6-step process that anybody can learn, as you know, Mashi, and that anybody can learn to actually take responsibility for their own feelings, to learn to love who they are and their true soul essence, to develop what we call the loving adult, and to learn to connect to a higher source of love and wisdom. So that is what I do. I've been doing that kind of work for the last 40 years because we developed this over 40 years ago. And it's highly, highly successful with individuals, with couples, with all kinds of issues that people have.
Could you give us a sense of the process? And I know people, they have to pay for that to learn to do it. But like with me, originally, I was referred to you probably 8 years before. And I was like, I don't need that stuff. I've already done that stuff. And then it wasn't until it was shifted that, this isn't it. This is, your end result will be, you'll be able to create a relationship that works for you, for who you are and what you need. But then when we started doing the inner bonding, I remember at first I was a little resistant. And so maybe we want to talk about, why would somebody be resistant to do inner bonding, and to even look at that as an option for how to live a life, live an invented life, live inventively. Why would someone resist that if they I want to live a life of possibility, but I don't want to do that stuff? Why would someone do that?
Well, so many of us have been brought up, first of all, to believe that our feelings don't really matter, that we can't handle them. They don't have any information for us. So why learn to feel our feelings? Most of us learn to stay up in our head rather than be aware of what we feel. And so a lot of people, it's scary to be present in their body and aware of what they feel. A lot of people were brought up, like I was, to believe that our good feelings have to come from somebody else loving us. We keep abandoning ourselves. And it's like if you had an actual child, and instead of being the mother and father to that child, you kept trying to give the child away. That's what people do in relationships. They make somebody else responsible for their feelings. And that's a form of self-sabotage, self-rejection.
Wait, all right. So wait a second. You said something and I wanted to interrupt, but then I didn't, and I should have. You said that at the very beginning, like we abandon ourselves for a relationship. What does that mean?
Well, there's basically 4 ways that people have learned to abandon themselves. One is we stay up in our head and we're not even aware of our feelings. And another is we judge ourselves badly, and then we feel bad because we're judging ourselves. And then we may numb out with various addictions. And one of those may be that we're looking for somebody else to give us what we're not giving to ourselves. And so, like I said, you have a child, you keep trying to find somebody else to make you feel whole and make you feel happy. But that's a self-rejection. That's a self-abandonment, and that sabotages you.
Looking for someone else or something else, like our work, our career, to make us feel. So when I think of that, I think of external validation.
Right.
So, and I think our world has been trained for external validation. I know I have 3 sons. I think all of those sons get external validation. And I think I taught them that.
That's right, because that's what we learned. We learned that love has to come from outside and that other people have to validate us. If they don't like us, then we believe that we're unworthy, we're not okay, we're not good enough. And this is a really hard way to live, because just because you might give me validation, then I'm going to need it from the next person and the next person and this person and that person. It's an addiction. It's never ending until we learn to give that to ourselves, to really see our own soul essence and connect with a source of truth that lets us know who we are, so that we're validating ourselves and taking action on that. We're actually taking action to love ourselves, which is...
Well, hold on a second. So, but don't most people have one of 3 core wounds: betrayal, abandonment, or shame? And at the center of all of those wounds, isn't it that I felt unloved? So don't all people want to be loved from the outside? Like, is that a human condition, or is that just people like me?
No, that's... I don't call it either one. I call it what we learned. We learned, I mean, it's all over TV, it's all over media. We have to get love from outside. Most people have not learned to tap into a spiritual source of love. They haven't learned to see who they really are as a soul. And this is what inner bonding does. It teaches people how to see who they are, how to value who they are. Almost everybody I work with has that shame, which comes from self-judgment. I'm not good enough. I'm not important. I don't matter. There's something wrong with me. We all absorb that.
But so how does that manifest in life? Like, let's say because I was 36 and I went to a conference, and the conference was about recruiting, but I saw this guy talk, and he did an exercise with people, a hula hoop exercise. And in the process of the hula hoop exercise, this group wanted to get their toys in that group's hula hoops, and this group wanted to get their toys in that group's. And then he gave us 5 minutes and we were running around, and I stopped and said, oh my God, this is how I feel I'm working. Wow. And that was my moment of a wake-up call that maybe the program that I was running in my life, like work, take care of the kids, make sure you I didn't even know, and I didn't even know that I didn't know that something was off with me. It was that insight about the hula hoops. And my first clue was that something was wrong with the industry, not that I was buying into what was going on. So it took me quite a while to even know that the I inside of my skin might have something to do with my own happiness. So how does the average person know that maybe they're on autopilot with looking for love in all the wrong places?
Well, they know when they start to feel miserable enough. They know when their relationships are failing, or somebody leaves them, or they're in the middle of a divorce, or their kids don't want to talk to them, or they lose their job. Something happens. Usually something happens and they say, my life isn't working. There's something else that needs to happen here. And so when people come to me, they don't really know that they're abandoning themselves. They're sabotaging themselves. They don't know that. But usually I don't advertise much. So people come because other people have told them that inner bonding works, that it's so life-changing.
Yeah.
They will learn what they need to learn, but they don't necessarily know it when they start. They just know they're miserable.
Well, here's the interesting thing that I have to say, because I worked with you when I was on this journey of, before I start dating, I want to date the right person. A lot of people on the dating sites have not, or even with dating services, have not done inner bonding. These guys they want to be your boyfriend the day you meet them or the day after. They want to, it's like so needy.
That's right.
And I wish that I could just say, listen, you got to do an inner bonding class before I'm doing a third date with you. And maybe I should. What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, you can try, because that'll let you know something really important. Either they're open to learning about themselves and they're open to learning about something like inner bonding, or they're not. And if they're not open to learning, if they're not interested, if they're not curious, that's a big sign that this is not the right relationship. Because in any relationship, there's going to be conflict, there's going to be differences. And in order to resolve them, people have to have an intention to learn. In inner bonding, intention is the basis. Either your intention is to learn about loving yourself and sharing your love with others, or your intention is to protect against pain with various forms of controlling behavior. So these guys come on to you, the first date, the second date, they're trying to control you. But because they're self-abandoning, you feel their emptiness. You feel that they have not brought love inside. They're not validating themselves. And so you feel the neediness of them. If you were to suggest, look, you need to take this program, you're going to find out a lot. Somebody might say, wow, that's just what I've been looking for. Thank you for letting me know that. I'm going to do it. Other people might say, well, I'm not interested in that kind of thing. I don't like anything therapeutic or blah, blah, blah. That lets you know that's not the right relationship for you.
Not at all. Not for me at all. Hey, that's a good idea. So you've got work relationships, you have kid relationships, you have intimate relationships or dating. What do you think about people looking for a job, like career transition? You're seeing a lot of layoffs, a lot of industries are changing. And so people are at a fork in the road. How could inner bonding help them pick the right job at the right time for who they are now, not who they were, when they started their resume?
Yeah. So one of the things that I've discovered is that we all actually have a blueprint that we're born with about what would bring us joy to offer the world. The problem is that because so many people have abandoned themselves, they don't even have access to that blueprint. What happens with people that I work with for a while and they're practicing inner bonding is they start to tune in to their passion, to what would really bring them joy to offer the world. In fact, I have a course called Passionate Purpose, Vibrant Health, because you also need the health to do it. And so, which I'm big on health and nutrition, you know that. As they do inner bonding, they learn to tune into what excites them, what lights them up.
I want to do that course because I'm planning for retirement. I just got my Social Security thing and I know that might be going away, but it reminded me that, I'm going to retire. I need a retirement. I want to keep working like you keep working, but I want to do it totally on my own terms. I only want to do exactly what I want to do when I want to do it with who I want to do it with. Right. So can you just tell me quickly how to register for that?
People can go to innerbonding.com, look under courses. We have a lot of courses, and that's one of the courses. Vibrant health is a big thing because I don't think people can do what they want to do if they're not loving themselves enough to take care of themselves on the physical level. I was really fortunate that I learned to do this in my early 20s. And this year I'm going to be 86 years old.
Woo!
And
you look kick-ass.
Yeah, and I have excellent health. I have no desire to retire. I'm full of energy. I usually run circles around 20-year-olds. And so I know that what I've learned to do regarding taking care of myself on the physical level works, and that's an essential part, too, of learning to connect with your higher guidance. A lot of people want to connect. They know something's there. They want that wisdom, but they don't realize that they, number one, need to be really open to learning about loving themselves. And two, they need to take care of their body and not put all that junk in it so that their frequency is high enough to connect with their higher guidance.
Okay, so a couple things about this is when you're aligned, when you're living, when you even see, when you can see, when you're present, when you don't have brain fog, when you're sleeping right and exercising and in tune with who you are as a body, and then you connect with your purpose, your higher purpose or your soul's purpose, you're saying that we'll make better decisions, that we'll be attracted to the right things will be attracted to us. What are you talking about, this vibration? What does that mean?
Well, everything has a vibration. And, imagine that you're walking into a room full of angry people. That's a low vibration, a low frequency. Imagine you walk into a room with happy, joyful, loving people, kind people. That's a high frequency. And that is where we need to be. We can't access that higher wisdom, which vibrates at a higher frequency than we do if we don't raise our frequency. Ours is, we have to see each other. So we can't vibrate like a hummingbird's wings, or we couldn't see each other. But we can learn to raise our frequency and access that information, which is actually how I work with people. When I sit down with somebody, I just open to my guidance and invite that in and let it work through me. And it does all the time. It's always there. It's always advising me. I'm always hearing my guidance. But that has taken a lot of practice for me, because when I started in Nirvana, I couldn't hear it at all. But now I do. And anybody can learn to access that by learning to really see and value and love who they truly are in their soul, and love themselves enough to feed themselves well. And get enough exercise, get enough sleep, do all the things we need to do to be healthy.
Okay, so now I want to have a conversation. You and I were talking, I don't know, a few months ago. This has taken like 5 months because you're so busy and I'm a little busy too. People picking coaches, because there's a lot of life in transition now. There's a lot of chaos and complexity and confusion and unknowns in the world. I mean, there's never been knowns, but we had the illusion that we knew. And now the illusion is being blown up in front of our faces almost every day. With people in this state of external flux, let's call it, more and more people are seeking support. And they're seeking support online. They're seeking support from chat. I have friends. Now, these are friends who do what you and I do for a living. They're in coaching. They're in transformation. They heal people. And they're talking to ChatGPT, asking chat intimate questions about their life and getting guidance from chat. And that freaks me out, because how can chat tune in to their highest purpose, to its highest purpose? How does he even have it? And is he even doesn't matter if it's a he or she or an it, but it's a computer.
It's a big problem today, because there's a lot of people that put themselves out as a coach. If you go onto Facebook, you can see, pay $20 and you can be a coach for this or a coach for that. What people need to do, if they do want help, is to look into the person's training. How much experience do they have? Have they done their own inner work? Looking at testimonials on the person's site. I've got hundreds and hundreds on my site. They need to check the person out to see primarily if that person has done their own inner work. Because if they haven't, they're not going to be able to help you. Now, certainly you can get some information from Chat GPT, but healing is about relationship. We got messed up in our relationships with our parents or others. And so we're going to heal through relationship. And Chat GPT is not a relationship. And so when I work with people, I'm able to see who they are in their soul, even if they can't. And I can start to give them and reflect to them what they didn't get as they were growing up and teach them how to access that for themselves so they can bring it in and integrate it.
That's so, because I do feel part of being a really excellent coach is this ability to tune in on a soul to soul basis.
That's right.
And you can, it's the inflection in the voice. And if you're looking, what the face does.
Right.
And I also think intuition is important in coaching and in hearing what somebody is saying and hearing the energy behind what they're saying. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and it's a relationship. It's not just like something like Chat GPT, which may give you information, but it's not a relationship. We heal in relationship.
That's really good. We heal in relationship. Two things that you said today so far that I think should be like in big letters. We heal in relationship. The love we need to have is the love to ourselves, not putting that pressure on someone else.
That's
to
right.
Be, say, do.
There's nothing wrong with getting validation, but if we're not validating ourselves, it doesn't go in.
Okay, got it. Say that again. If we're not validating ourselves,
it doesn't go in.
It doesn't go in.
No, it doesn't last. It's like an addiction. Like you have sugar and it tastes great, but it doesn't last. That's what others' validation is like if you're not also validating yourself.
So is that like the person who needs to be told, I love you, even though they just said it, they want it? Or you gave me a gift, but now that was 3 weeks, I need another gift. Or I need you to be telling me, I probably was that way in my marriage.
Yeah. The greatest experience in life, from my point of view, is the sharing of love. But people confuse sharing love with getting love. That's one of the big problems. They think that getting love will fill them, but that isn't what brings joy. What brings joy is learning to love ourselves, fill ourselves with love, and be able to share that love with others who are also open and doing their inner work so that they can also share love. That is the most fulfilling thing in the world. Now, that's what happens when I work with people. You see, they reach a point where they're experiencing that sharing. You can't get that on Chat GPT. I'm bringing.
And then you also can't. So there's another thing besides chat that I'm seeing, and that is like these people getting certified in a weekend.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I said.
Be a coach. How on earth? And some of them have never done a role, a job.
That's right.
That they even understand contextual coaching or job. Now I'm going to be a coach. How does somebody, you said testimonials, but how could you tell just from talking to somebody about like their ability to be a coach?
If people look into how long I've been doing what I've been doing, it's 56 years. That's a long time. Okay. So if somebody's been doing what they're doing for a year or 2 years or even 5 years, they don't have the experience that I have in working with people. So you look into their background. Where did they get certified? Did they just send in their $20? How much experience have they had? How much of their own inner work have they done? That's one of the most important things, is somebody being open to doing their inner work. I see so many coaches, they're so dysfunctional. And they're not helpful.
It's funny that you say that, because I went to Coactive Training Institute, got my coaching certification, and then that was 5 classes and then 6 months of intense. People would have to listen to your coaching and grade you. Formal certification was a big financial push, like $15K at the time, but also to be subject to having somebody listen in and giving you feedback. So it takes vulnerability. But the other thing I remember, then a year later, anyway, it was in the middle of my journey, I did a year-long leadership training with Coactive Training Institute. And I remember Henry Kimseyhouse saying to these coaches, this is a training for leaders. If you have not done your inner work, go back and do the basics, but you're not getting that here. And I thought that was one of the most profound leveling up things I've ever heard in a training. Like, if you haven't put your own oxygen mask on, if you don't know how to be an adult, if you're still carrying around your stuff, why are you thinking you're going to lead other people
that's right.
to transformation?
We have a wonderful program called Inner Bonding Facilitator Training Program, and it is a 14-month program. It's very, very intense.
Yes.
People, they have to do their own work in the program. They have to work with each other. They're watched, all that you're talking about that you went through, but it's like much longer than what you did. They are very well trained. And then they have to work with people for quite a while before they actually get certified.
Wow. So how many hours does a coach need before they get certified of coaching, of inner bonding work?
Yeah. You know what? I don't head that program. Somebody else heads that. So I don't really
know. It's intense because
it's wonderful. And the people that come out of that are fantastic.
Awesome. So how would somebody find an inner bonding certified coach?
So they just go on our website and they look under facilitators. We don't call ourselves coaches. We call ourselves facilitators. So look under facilitation, and they can find the whole list of people who are in training. If they don't have much money, the people who are in training, who are facilitators in training because they've already completed the program and they're working with people, they're going to be less expensive. And then the people who are certified are all on there. So they can find that, or they can work with me.
Yeah, I liked working with you and I like working with you. Okay, so we're going to wrap up I just want to make sure we covered everything. We covered dating and inner bonding. We covered job searching and inner bonding. We covered that fundamentally it's about giving love to yourself and learning to love yourself and taking responsibility. You said earlier you either have an intention to learn or an intention to control.
Right.
And when you master inner bonding, it's about learning and it's about loving versus controlling and trying to take control of what you have. And there's, if you're a coach and you're listening and you want to learn from Dr. Margaret Paul and Dr. Erica Chopich, you can get certified in inner bonding. And if you're looking for a coach, if you hear something in this and you say, I need to do something and I believe I need support from the outside, hire a person who's credentialed, whether it's Dr. Margaret Paul herself or another coach, but credentialed, experienced, testimonials, track record. If you want somebody, if you don't have a lot of money and you want someone in training, on Dr. Margaret Paul's site, she's got facilitators. You can click down to the facilitators, get somebody who's in training. The good news about that is that person will get coaching on coaching you. Right. Anything you want to end with, Dr. Margaret Paul, today?
Well, I just want people to know that, this is a 6-step process. Anybody can learn it. It's on our website. There's lots of free ways of learning it. We have a free course, a free 7-day course. If people want to learn this, they can, regardless of whether they have the money for the more expensive courses or not. There's plenty of ways on the website, and I've got 15 published books. So if they want to learn through a book, they can. There's many, many ways for people to learn.
Great. Okay. Well, thank you so much for being with us today. And that's it.